Fighter of the decade. Everybody love that decade talk, don't they? So you got to go back 10 years when people can't remember two. Can't remember last year, let alone 10. But people trying to say, well, who is it? Is Floyd Mayweather fighter of the decade, or is it Canelo? Is it Manny Pacquiao? And they try to immediately go past the losses. Well, just because you lost don't mean you can't be fighter of the decade. It's all about the great fights and the excitement and the people, and they want to look for anything they can to justify who they want to pick. This is fine, I get it. I'm used to it. As I open my mail, or open my bills. So when you see this type of behavior happen over and over again, you're saying to yourself, oh, somebody wants to loan me money. Yeah, right. Now, you're looking at the situation where you see many different tropes. Everyone got an allowances, they got an excuse made, they got things laid out to justify what they like and what they think. Now, here's the news. The news is there is no number two. Even if it would be Andre Ward more than anybody. Andre Ward is probably the closest guy that would come to Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather's fighter of the decade, without a doubt. Andre Ward actively fought in the 2010 era. He beat up Alan Green, Vika, Arthur Abram when he was undefeated, Froch, and Chad Dawson, and Edwin Rosario. He beat like seven. What? Oh my God. No, Arthur Abram, I think he had that loss. But he was the first guy to really beat Arthur Abram in that Super Six tournament. He beat Carl Froch. Chad Dawson got stopped. He had a great run before he ended up beating Kovalev twice. So to me, there's no doubt it's Floyd Mayweather, but Andre Ward is number two, and that should have been the argument. Who was number two? Now let's get to number one and all this stuff. Let's get to it. Floyd Money Mayweather. The Money Man. Let's get to that. Floyd Mayweather did something that most of you guys wouldn't even fathom. Floyd Mayweather came back in 2009 after sitting out for almost 2 years. Got called out by Shane Mosley in the ring. Decided to take that fight. When everybody in the world asked for that fight, they was like, we wanted to see Pacquiao. We didn't want to see that. No, you wanted to see that fight too. And everybody's lips was, if he fights Shane Mosley and beats Shane Mosley, I'ma shut up. You ain't gonna hear nothing out of me about Floyd no more. Cause if he fight Shane and he beat Shane, he get all my credit. I can't complain no more. That's what I heard. That's what I heard from the public. That's what I heard from people. Now let's get to the gist of it. He fights Shane, and not only that, Floyd Mayweather, before he fought Shane, changed sports. Period. Shane Mosley had just vanquished Antonio Margarito, who was the big bully, bad guy Floyd was supposed to be scared of. Now, he vanquishes this guy. Shane was the man, knocked him out, stopped him after the glove controversy. Floyd comes up with the idea and saying that we need blood testing throughout the entire sport of boxing. There's guys that was cheating and was getting away with it to make it safer. They battered the man, they bashed him, said he was scared. They said everything. Manny Pacquiao's not on drugs. You know, this is a travesty. And all of a sudden, Floyd is scared of Manny and all of this. No, it was about the safety of the fighters. But was he wrong? The first guy is always going to get trashed for doing this. But in 2010, versus Shane Mosley was the first fight that was random blood and urine test done for a boxing fight, a pay-per-view boxing fight with USADA and everybody else. And that process went through, and you know, it was the first test run. People got to see the results of these tests, and it changed boxing. Finally, fighters could have clean fighter versus clean fighter, you know, and no problems. And this is what the sport was missing, you know, and now you have a definitive person in there who they couldn't slight. And over the years, we've seen how the tests have modified now. Guys are getting caught, and guys are trying to sneak these guys over. And most of these European fighters is getting busted for doping, and they kind of try to amend something to sneak past the rules, and they still getting caught still to this day. And Floyd Mayweather's this person who was the biggest sport and the biggest athlete in the sport who took a stand. Who took a stand for it. And you crucified him for it. So the first fight he had in 2010 against Shane Mosley, a fight that was epic. You saw Floyd go through adversity, come back, and dominate Shane. And you didn't give him any credit. Pacquiao came up with every excuse in the book. I'm afraid of needles. He came up with every excuse in the book to avoid having to deal with answering the questions about taking the test. They tried to negotiate the fight. They kept coming up with excuses after excuses to the point where the fight was not made. And a fallback plan, Floyd had to fight Victor Ortiz. A young, up-and-coming challenger. Something you guys said Floyd could never do. Floyd would never give an opportunity to a young fighter. Well, there it is. He fought Victor Ortiz, a young and up-and-coming fighter, and led to the most epic four-round knockout in the history of boxing that was replayed over and over again because of what happened in the ring. Epic. But it did numbers. Did numbers. Then, Floyd Mayweather turns right back around after that fight and gives you the fight against Miguel Cotto. Cotto at 154 pounds, right where Cotto wanted to be. They didn't try to weight drain Cotto. They kept him right where he wanted to be. This was the Cotto who was back. He beat Margarito. He was back on top of his game since he lost to Manny Pacquiao. Cotto gave a valiant effort, looked good in some rounds, had Floyd bleeding in the fight, which some of you guys liked, and Floyd persevered and almost stopped him in the last round. Then, what did Floyd do? After making that epic fight with Miguel Cotto, he signs an epic deal with Showtime. A 6-fight deal for the largest contract in professional sports. And he fights, first fight against Robert Guerrero. First fight, pay-per-view. Now, Robert the Ghost Guerrero had earned his way there. Tough fight. Pretty good. Champion. Was never on Floyd's level, but it's a good opening fight. Anyway, Robert the Ghost Guerrero gets beat. Floyd injures his hand. Many people are concerned about his future in the sport. But he persevered. He fights Canelo Alvarez. The very next fight, the undefeated, hard-hitting 154-pounder. Ain't that what y'all said? Floyd, what are you doing going back to 154? You know you can't fight Canelo. He's too big and he's too strong. Canelo would beat him. Floyd would never fight anybody like Canelo. He fights Canelo. And it was probably one of his best performances that we've seen in recent years, as Floyd dominates Canelo from round 1 to round 12 and made it look easy. He confused Canelo. He just dissected him. He made him miss. He educated him so much in the ring, Canelo even knew he lost. To one scorecard, one judge had it a draw or something, just to try to make it even. Even Canelo people knew, like, come on, that's not right. That's not right. They, like, don't do that. That guy won. So, the nature of this game is clear. You have to beat the man to be the man. And nobody beat the man. After beating Canelo, his very next fight was against Marcos Maidana. Maidana had just beaten Adrian Broner. He was the big bad bully. And they finally meet in the ring. And he's giving Floyd adversity. He's roughing him up just like he did Adrian Broner. And Floyd persevered and destroyed and broke him down. And the fight was so close, a lot of people thought that Maidana did enough to win the fight. So they do a rematch. They run it back. And it was quite uneventful. But it was a sign that Floyd had slowed a little bit. That was the first fight where Floyd won easy, but it wasn't the same. You know, it was a lot of things that weren't right that I saw in that fight. Then comes the fight of all fights. 2015, he brings you the fight, Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. You got your fight. You got your fight. You got Mayweather versus Pacquiao. The biggest fight in the history of boxing. It had burnt up pay-per-view lines. People tried to order the fight at the last minute. It did like 5 million pay-per-view buys. The largest thing to ever hit in the sports history, generating so much money with revenue and everything involved into the billions. Most lucrative fight everywhere, from hotels, everything, people flying in, businessmen, everybody had to have a piece of the event to be around that fight. It generated over billions of dollars in revenue from people all around it in Las Vegas. That alone, that fight, Floyd systematically controlled Manny Pacquiao. They came up with some fake injury to try to make it like Pacquiao was hurt. He wasn't. He just can't beat Floyd. And he couldn't get to him. He couldn't get past the jab. There was nothing he could do. Floyd got his respect in the first round, and that was that. Now, let's move forward. After this, in 2017, 2 years later, Floyd Mayweather returns back to the ring and fights Conor McGregor. The joke fight, everybody called it. And basically, this is the Great White Hype all over again. The movie The Great White Hype. Conor McGregor, known for his lewd behavior, going out and talking crazy and screaming at the top of his lungs, and, just very disrespectful, rude, and vulgar. This type of behavior, which I knew was going to lead to nothing but success for Floyd Mayweather. And that's exactly what happened. This type of behavior was just going to sell this fight, and based off the color of McGregor's skin, people were betting. Floyd is old. Conor could win. No. From an international standpoint, this fight was huge. From a standpoint of just boxing people around, the brothers who laugh into the bank because they already know what's going to happen here, this is going to be epic because we already know they have no shot. And because they have no shot, this fight is going to end up one way, no return. There was only one way this fight was going to end. Floyd walked him down, destroyed him, got him out of there. Epic. This fight surpassed the numbers of even Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. Wow. A fight that was more like an exhibition, which was ruled Floyd's 50th victory as a pro. Conor McGregor was listed as a professional. Unbelievable. Now, get this. Get this. Because I want you guys to understand. So, get this. To top that all off, to make things even more epic, because I want you guys to get the gist of the whole picture, Floyd Mayweather returns for an exhibition fight in Japan a year ago, and in 1 minute knocks out one of Japan's top fighters, Tenshin, And what do you know? He makes about $9 million just for showing up for that little bit of time. For 1 minute in an exhibition fight. And that basically concludes the year. Floyd announced that he's coming back, so we don't know what he's going to come back and do, but the people are still interested. He still has the eye of the attention. He has generated more for the sport of boxing than anybody. So, fighter of the decade, easy. He's generated more eyes and ears to the sport, including bringing over MMA watchers to watch the sport. He's the man. So love it or hate it, you got to respect it. And don't forget to donate to the page and hit the Cash App up. And yes, Carcino for Life is on Patreon. And oh, baby, do we have stuff on Patreon. You just don't even know. But you should, so you need to get over there. I'm out. That's it. That's all.